Hey, so I'm going to do my video now where I do talk about the crew, and I figured I would do with Farscape. I might because it has more like it feels like the crew is almost constantly changing. I thought I would try to simplify it and do the season one crew because I do when I think of the crew, I mostly do kind of think of that as being more or less the I guess like the main crew. And so I'm gonna start with Zan. I think she's one of my favorite characters. I really like her. She has a kind of a unique outlook because she's so powerful. Like you see her sometimes, like in some of the some one of the episodes in particular, like where she fights that guy. I can't remember his name, but I remember how like powerful she is. But then she's always like she's one of the few characters who really doesn't like to be, a fighter. She's kind of like more a pacifist, and so I just find her very interesting too because she's like a plant-like species. She's really powerful, and she's just very most of the time you see her, she is very calm. But then when she's not, she can be very scary. And I like her like the whole history with her, and just in general, her species always comes off as kind of interesting and different in comparison to many of the other ones. And she always comes off more. I feel like she usually comes off more level-headed, at least than many of the other characters in the ship, and I just really like her. I usually do like the alien characters in games in general anyway. They're in games and in series, I do have a tendency to find them to be kind of just fun because you get to learn about their species and they're always just kind of different. But my second would probably be Erin, and I do kind of like her because I like how she grows and does change as a character from the person you see in the first part of this season, where she's much, she's a peacekeeper, to being like she changes a lot, and it changes a lot of her worldviews, especially on her own like society. And she is a very strong character. I really like her, and she's a fun, tough character. And so the next one would probably be, I would want to say Rigel actually, because he's kind of annoying. He's a bit of a worm, but a slug, but he's kind of just fun and really weird, and I like him. He's like that pompous prince, but he's also kind of just funny and a little like awkward, and maybe not should say awkward. He's like fun. He's got his little like he hover. I forgot what it is. He's just this cranky, weird slug. Uh, you know, royalty. It's kind of funny, and I do like him. And so after him, I would say I do like actually Cheyenne, because I think that she's kind of a fun character too. She can be a little bit immature sometimes, but she's supposed to kind of be like a more free spirited character, and she has her moments where I do really like her. I find her to be kind of a fun character. She's not like I feel like she's not as interesting as some of the other characters, but I do really like her, and I find her to be kind of just like a fun character. I think number six for me would probably actually have to be John, because despite the fact that he is the main, protagonist, I don't find him as interesting as any of the other characters. He's a guy from Earth, and I guess that's why he's supposed to be so interesting. But to me, it makes him feel just not as interesting as any of the other characters, because he's just kind of like an average guy. And again, that's supposed to be why some people, I'm sure, love him. But I don't know. He doesn't really stand out in comparison to the other characters. He's kind of like And so then after him, I would say I like the pilot. Oh, sorry, I forgot Diago. Diago was going to go. I want to say after Cheyenne, because I do find him funny. I do actually like him as a character, because I like his kind of like with him. I do like his I guess his whole like backstory too. He's kind of, like he goes from being just a warrior guy to we learn more about his history with his wife and his child, and it makes him feel more well rounded and kind of complicated. So actually, I like him technically for Cheyenne. So Diago would be fifth, Cheyenne would be sixth, and then John would be, I guess, seven, and then Pilot would be eight, because I mean Pilot's kind of interesting. He's kind of he's there, but he's not as obviously fleshed out as some of the other characters, and I don't know. I like him. I don't know. He's not quite as interesting as some others. So that's my ranking of the characters from season one of the crew for Farscape. So yay, like and subscribe.